Have you ever noticed how your way of thinking makes others pause? How your perspective, the way you see the world, leaves people silent, sometimes in awe, sometimes in disbelief. Yes, they are shocked by the way you think. This message is not for everyone. It's for the soul that has been misunderstood, questioned, even doubted, just because your mind refuses to follow the crowd. I'm not here to flatter you, but to remind you of the truth inside you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Because deep down, you already know who you are. People are taught from a very young age to follow a certain script. Go to school, believe what you are told, repeat what is safe, fit into the mold. But you have never been fully comfortable with that script. You notice details others overlook. You sense connections others deny. Where most people see a wall, you see a doorway waiting to be opened. Where they see limits, you see possibilities stretching far beyond the horizon. And that is why your way of thinking shocks them. It is not that you are trying to be different. It is that you cannot betray the truth your soul whispers to you. They have been trained to think in straight lines, logic that begins here and must end there without question. But your mind does not move in lines. It dances in spirals, circles, constellations. You see patterns between things they thought were unrelated. You see meaning where they saw nothing. You see the future where they only cling to the past. And because of that, they don't always understand you. They may call you strange, they may call you unrealistic, they may even laugh at your dreams, not because your dreams are foolish, but because theirs have been buried. Remember this, every great idea in history once sounded impossible. Flying was once madness, until it became airplanes. Talking across oceans was once a fantasy, until it became phones. And standing up for truth was once dangerous, until it became freedom for those who dared to speak. Your thoughts carry the same power. They may feel too bold, too radical, too unbelievable for others right now. But that is the gift of your mind. You are living ahead of time. You are breathing tomorrow's air while others are still trapped in yesterday. This is why your ideas shock them, because in your voice, in your vision, they feel a part of themselves they once abandoned, a forgotten spark, a silent dream, a freedom they secretly crave, but are too afraid to claim. And that is your gift, not to repeat what has been said, not to stay safe inside the lines, but to remind the world of what is possible when a soul refuses to be silent. You are not here to echo, you are here to awaken. Have you ever wondered why your thoughts feel so unsettling to others? It is not because you are wrong. It is because you touch the very places they have tried to avoid. You ask the questions they don't dare to ask. You challenge the rules they have blindly followed. You open windows in rooms where they have chosen to keep the curtains closed. For most people, life feels safer inside walls of certainty. They would rather cling to what they know, even if it keeps them small, than step into the unknown, where freedom and truth actually live. But you do not belong to cages. Your spirit was not designed for silence. Your mind was not created to be chained. So when you speak, when you think out loud, when you dare to live differently, it shakes them. It unsettles the ground beneath their feet. It forces them to face a possibility they have buried, that there is more to life than survival, more to truth than tradition, more to the soul than rules and fear. This is why they are shocked, because your courage exposes their comfort. Your questions reveal their avoidance, and your vision threatens the illusions they have carefully built. Do not mistake their resistance as proof that you are wrong. Often the loudest rejection is just a sign of hidden admiration. They may call you unrealistic, yet secretly they wish they had your courage. They may dismiss your perspective, yet quietly they wonder if you are right. Their shock is not rejection of you, it is fear of themselves. Because deep down your presence is a mirror, and when they look at you, they see the parts of their own soul they abandoned, the wild dreamer, the fearless believer, the seeker of truth. So when they call you strange, smile. When they doubt you, breathe. When they resist you, stand firm. Because shock is the first stage of awakening, and every time your words, your ideas, your way of being shake their world, you are planting a seed of freedom in their heart. They may deny it now, but one day those seeds will grow. And when they do, They will remember the moment they first heard your voice and felt their world tremble. You are not here to comfort their fears. You are here to confront them with truth. There is a silent cost that comes with thinking differently, and perhaps you have felt it more than once, the weight of being misunderstood. At first, it can feel exciting to share your ideas, your visions, your truths, but then you notice the blank stares, the polite nods that don't really mean agreement, the subtle distance when people don't know how to handle your perspective, and sometimes the direct rejection when they label you as too much, too strange, or too unrealistic. It is in those moments that loneliness quietly enters the room, not because you are wrong, but because few are willing to walk the same path. The crowd loves familiarity. It fears what feels unfamiliar. And you, with your soul wide open and your thoughts unafraid, you often find yourself standing at the edge of paths others never dared to walk. Yes, being different can feel isolating. There will be days when you question yourself, days when you wonder if it would be easier to just stay quiet, to dim your light, to play small. But remember this, solitude is not a punishment, it is preparation. The universe often hides its rarest treasures in places where few will look. Diamonds are not found on the surface, they are formed under pressure, in the dark, away from the crowd. And so are you. Every moment of isolation has been shaping you, polishing you, strengthening you in silence. Being different is not a curse, it is a calling, and loneliness is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that you are walking a road too sacred to be crowded. In your solitude, you discover your own voice. In your silence, you meet your own soul. In your moments of doubt, you realize that your strength does not come from the approval of others, but from the truth within you. So yes, it may feel lonely at times, but never forget, you are not alone in spirit. Every soul who ever dared to think differently walked through the same valley. And though they walked it in solitude, they emerged carrying the light that guided generations after them. You are not too much. You are simply ahead of your time, and those who cannot walk with you now will one day remember that you were the one who lit the path. There is something inside you that cannot be explained by logic alone. A quiet force, a whisper, a knowing. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, but it always guides. This is your inner compass, the voice of your soul. While the world rushes to follow trends, chase approval, or cling to rules, you are moved by something deeper. Your thoughts are not random. They rise from a source beyond the surface, from intuition, from wisdom written in your spirit long before you were born. Others may question you. Where's the evidence? How can you be so sure? Why don't you think like everyone else? But the truth is, you don't need their proof, because what stirs inside you already feels like truth. It resonates in your body, in your heart, in your bones, and that resonance is more real than any external validation. This is why your way of thinking shocks people, because they rely only on what they can see. They trust numbers, statistics, history, and rules. And while all of that has its place, it cannot hold the fullness of life. They cannot see what you see. They cannot feel what you feel. They cannot sense what your soul already knows. And that unsettles them, because while they seek proof, you embody faith. While they cling to the known, you lean into the mystery. While they build walls to stay safe, you open doors to discover truth. Your inner compass does not always lead you on the easy path. In fact, it often takes you into the unknown, the unpredictable, the unseen. But every time you choose to trust it, you step closer to the life you were truly meant to live. A life aligned with purpose, not fear. A life guided by authenticity, not expectation. The greatest thinkers, dreamers, and visionaries of history all shared this gift. They listened to the quiet whisper when the world told them to stay silent. They trusted the unseen when everyone demanded proof. And because of that trust, they built bridges, created breakthroughs, and shifted the course of humanity. So do not doubt the compass within you. It may not always make sense to others. It may even confuse you at times. But if you keep listening, keep trusting, it will lead you exactly where you are meant to be. The world may not understand the voice within you, but the universe does, and if you follow it, you will never be lost. At first, when people encounter your way of thinking, their reaction is often resistance. They shake their heads, they laugh, they dismiss you. But deep inside, something stirs. Because even if their mind rejects your words, their soul cannot ignore the truth it feels. Shock is not the end of the story. Shock is only the beginning. It is the crack in the wall where light begins to enter. It is the jolt that wakes a sleeper from their long, heavy dream. And you, with your thoughts, your questions, your vision, you are that spark. Think about it. Every great change in history began with discomfort. When someone dared to suggest a new idea, the world resisted. But later, that same idea became the very foundation of progress. Your thoughts carry that same potential. So yes, some will reject you, but some will awaken because of you. Some will pause even in silence and begin to wonder, what if they're right? What if life could be different? What if there's more than I've been told? That small wondering is the beginning of awakening. It may not happen instantly. Seeds take time to grow, but once planted, they cannot be unplanted. Your courage to think differently gives silent permission for others to do the same. Without even realizing it, you become a catalyst. You shift the air around you. You change the vibration of the room. And people feel it, even if they don't admit it. Every ripple of your thought becomes a wave in someone else's ocean. Every word you speak that carries truth echoes in another person's silence. Even your presence, without saying a thing, reminds others of what is possible. Never underestimate that power. You don't have to convince everyone. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Your task is simply to keep shining, to keep speaking, to keep being, because your being itself is disruptive. Disruptive to fear, disruptive to lies, disruptive to the chains that keep souls asleep. And in time, what once shocked them will inspire them. What once felt threatening will feel liberating. What once made them uncomfortable will become the very reason they rise. Remember, a single candle does not argue with the darkness. It simply shines, and by shining it makes the darkness tremble. There comes a moment when you can no longer hide from yourself. A moment when you realize that your way of thinking is not an accident, not a mistake, not a burden, but a responsibility. You were not given this mind just to blend in. You were not given this vision just to stay silent. You were not given this fire just to keep it hidden inside your chest. You were meant to ignite. So stop doubting your own thoughts simply because they don't fit the mold. Stop apologizing for your questions, your dreams, your boldness. Stop shrinking just to make others comfortable, because comfort has never changed the world, but truth has. Your way of thinking is not a weakness. It is your revolution. Every idea you hold, every perspective you share, every time you dare to say what others are afraid to speak, you are tearing down the walls of limitation. You are unlocking doors for others who are still trapped in silence. Do you see what that means? The very fact that people are shocked by you is proof that you are shaking the cages of their fear. It means you are doing what you came here to do. This is your wake-up call. Do not waste your gift. Do not dim your light. Do not bury your truth just to satisfy those who are still asleep. The world does not need another echo. The world needs a voice, and that voice is yours. Yes, some will resist you. Yes, some will doubt you, but some quietly, secretly are waiting for you. Waiting for the spark only you can bring. Waiting for the freedom only you can remind them of. So rise. Rise above the noise. Rise beyond the fear. Rise into the fullness of who you are. If they are shocked by your mind, let them be. Because shock is the doorway to awakening. And you, my friend, are here to open doors. So here you are, listening, reflecting, feeling every word that has echoed through your soul. And maybe somewhere deep inside you finally understand. There is nothing wrong with the way you think. The world may be shocked, but the universe is not. The universe designed you this way. Every thought that sets you apart is a thread woven into your destiny. Every question that refuses silence is a spark of your purpose. Every vision that feels too big for this moment is a glimpse of the future you are meant to walk into. You were never meant to blend into the background. You were meant to rise, to stand, to shine, not because you want attention, but because your very being is a light for others still trapped in the dark. So when they stare, when they doubt, when they whisper about your difference, and smile, because their shock is proof that you are alive, that you are no longer asleep, that you are not here to repeat the old story, but to write a new one. Let this truth sink in. You do not have to be understood to be valuable. You do not need validation to be powerful. You do not need agreement to be free. You only need the courage to keep walking the path your soul already knows. And as you walk it, others will follow. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day they will remember the way your words made them pause, the way your presence made them feel, the way your truth shook something awake inside them. And in that moment, your shock will become their awakening. So rise. Rise with clarity, rise with courage, rise with the knowing that you are exactly who you are meant to be, because the world does not need you to be silent. The world needs you to be fully alive. They are shocked by the way you think, but you are guided by the way you know, and that knowing will always lead you home.